We're on lesson 1 of chapter 6, which is to solve linear systems by graphing. First, we're going to check the intersection point of a system. Then we'll use the graph and check method. Then we'll solve a real-world problem. First of all, what is a system of equations? Well, a system of equations is a set of two equations, linear equations, that are in relation to each other. So unlike a linear equation where the answer runs all along this line, a system usually only has one set of coordinate points, or x and y, which answers both of these equations correctly. So it would be our job to find that answer. One of the ways that we could do it is through graphing. We know that the answer for y equals 2/3 x runs along this line, rise of 2, run of 3, rise of 2, run of 3. And then y equals 2x minus 4 starts at negative 4 and goes up 2 for every one it goes over. Well, we see that there's an intersection here, and sometimes it intersects at a nice corner like this, sometimes it intersects at a really weird spot. But for our sake, this time it intersects at a nice spot, 3 and 2. And at the intersection is the place where the answer is. So if we plugged in 3 and 2 for x and y, we would get correct answers for both of these equations. So for example, y, which is 2, equals 2/3 of 3, and that would be correct. Or y, which is 2, equals 2 times 3 minus 4, that also equals 2. So yeah, both of these equations would be correct by this intersection of the lines. So let's use that graph here to solve these. We have x plus 2y equals 7, so it's running along this line right here. Then we have 3x minus 2y equals 5, and that's the blue line going up here. So where do we see that intersection? Well, it looks like it's crossing at the nice point here, and that would be 3x and 2y. So that would be our answer. So 3x and 2y. But it also says to check our solution. So let's do that. Let's plug it into both of these equations. First, the yellow one here. So 3 would be x plus 2 times 2 for the y, and does that equal 7? Well, 2 times 2 equals 4, so 3 plus 4 equals 7. And there we have it. That would be correct. How about this one? 3x minus 2y equals 5. Let's plug in that. 3 times 3 minus 2 times 2. Does that equal 5? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. Minus 4. Does that equal 5? That is also true. 5 equals 5. So we see that by finding the intersection, we can find the answer. Now we need to use the graph and check method. So we have this system here of negative x plus y equals negative 7 and x plus 4y equals negative 8. Let's graph them and then we'll find that intersection. I like turning these into slope-intercept form so I can graph them easily. So I can add this x to both sides. And if I do that, I would have y equals negative 7 plus x. I like x minus 7. And then this other one we would have, move that x over, I would have 4y equals negative 8 minus x, or negative x minus 8. Then I could divide both sides by 4. Then we would have y equals negative 1/4 x minus 2. So after I erase my work here, we will have our two equations in slope-intercept form. So let's plot these points out. We're going to start at negative 7 for this one and plot a one-slope ratio. So it's negative 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then going over 1, up 1, along like here. Here's our slope. And then we could probably graph a line from that. We'll go blue for this one. And there's our slope. We can extend it this way then. And there we have it. Now let's do negative 1/4 x minus 2. So we're going to start at negative 2, and then we go down 1 over 4, down 1 over 4, and then we can plot that line out. Let's go with red this time. So starting at our point, plotting like this, and it looks like we have an intersection. Let's just extend this first. And it looks like our intersection is at positive 4 for x and negative 3 for y. So that would be our answer for negative 3. And if you want, you could try testing this out by plugging those in for x and y. We could just test that first one out. Positive 4 minus 7 would be negative 3, which is y. So that would be true. Here's our last one. A business rents inline skates and bicycles. Skates cost $15 per day, and bicycles cost $30 per day. During one day, the business has a total of 25 rentals and collects $450 for the rentals. Find the number of pairs of skates rented and the number of bicycles rented. So here we actually have to create a system, then solve it. Well, it gives us the answers for two of the equations. There's a total of 25 rentals, and there's a total of $450 spent. So I know that my system here would be skates plus bikes equals 25. I also know that skates are $15 per day and bikes are $30 per day. So I would say 15 times S plus the 30 times the B for the bikes equals the $450 that we would need. So here are my two equations. If I made this bikes, that would become my X, I guess you could say. And if I made this skates, that would become my Y. So we can make this S equals something like slope-intercept form here. So we could subtract B from both sides. So subtract B. That would give us an equation of S equals 25 minus B, or negative B plus 25. So if we were going to plot that out, we would start at 25, 10, 15, 20, 25, make a mark, and then it's negative B, so it goes down 1 for every one we go over. So over 5, down 5, over 5, down 5, and we can create our line from there. So here is our first equation. Now our second equation, we can move the 30 over, the 30B over. So now we would have 15S equals negative 30B plus 450. Divide both sides by 15. And that would give us S equals negative 2B plus 450 divided by 15 would be 30. So we plot our points. We go over up to 30. Then since it's negative 2, we go down 2 for every one we go over. So if we go over 5, we go down 2. Go over 5, we go down 2. Then we plot our points out with the line. Down we go. And it looks like we have our intersection here. And the intersection would be how many bikes we sold and how many skates we sold. So it looks like we sold 5 bikes, then we also sold 20 skates. So we would write our answer up here. So 20 skates, 5 bikes. So if you want to do the math, you probably could find out if we got that correct. So 20 times 15 would be 300, plus the 5 times 30 would be 150. 300 plus 150 would be 450. So it looks like we're on target.